Hello and welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai. This is the willow leaf ficus that I won from Carlos from the YouTube channel Life of Bonsai. Last year sometime, I think, it wintered in the house. It lost all its leaves. Carlos had warned me that this tree will lose all its leaves when you bring it in the house. And indeed it did. When the leaves came back, though, they were very sparse. So I left it outside all summer long and just very recently brought it into the greenhouse when the outside temperatures started to dip at night. So it's quite dense. It did really well this summer after I brought it outside. But I've got to do something with this tree. There are a lot about this tree that I love and a lot about it that I don't love. And let's take a close look at it and I'll show you exactly what I don't love about it. All right, for starters, this long, straight branch. What do you do with something like this? I guess the question I want to ask from people who may have this species and know just what it does, but what would a hard prune here yield for me? I know what the tree would look like, but this Y is just awful. So I've got to really think about this. The other thing I don't like about this tree are these two opposite branches. I hope you can see them. They're not directly opposite one another, but there aren't too many views where this back branch can be seen. So if this were the front of the tree, do I want this branch and this branch? I don't know what to do. So what I had been thinking about was hard pruning it back on one side or the other, or both. When is the right time to do something like that? Am I courting disaster? I would love to hear from people who know this tree. Not this particular tree, but this species, and can guide me. Today, I'm just going to thin it out a little bit, bring it back a little bit, and get it ready to come into the house. Last winter, even though it didn't have much in the way of foliage, some did grow back over the winter. And toward the end of the winter, I noticed scale insects developing on these branches. I don't see anything now. I don't see anything at all now, critter-wise, but I will spray the tree before it comes in the house, just to be on the safe side. It could be a nice tree. I buried it deeper than it had been buried because there's a kind of a girdling, bulbous root thing happening. It was in a pot that was very restrictive. I put it in this larger pot. It seems to like it, as I can tell from how it's growing. But I want to hear back from people with answers to hard prune questions. What does this tree do? Because that's what I'm tempted to do, is to really hard prune it back. It's got a lot of life though. Let's get started on today's operation, which is just getting it ready to come into the house. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I just pruned this, and this, thinking you were watching me. But I didn't turn on the camera. So I was just trying to contemplate what's going on up here. And forgive me for my earlier mishap. So before I do that, I'm just going to take the growing tip off. I think I did prune this and it dried already, but I think I want to come back a little bit further with it, like to here. And we'll see what happens with that branch. I haven't really come up with a front on this tree, and since I have some misgivings about how it looks now. I'm not too concerned about that. I will take this leaf off just so I can see what's going on. I'll take that leaf off. So we're up here. This comes up and divides into 2 on this side and 2 on this side. They're not in line. That's pretty good. I like that. This growing this way bothers me a little bit. But maybe if I can coax this back, I'll get some growth off of that in another direction. You're watching indecision in the making. And take this leaf off. And this leaf. I think I'm just going to take the growing tips back. There isn't much tip. Yeah, these are not going to be easy to tip prune. I'm just trying to cut the terminal bud off on these 3. I'm a little out of my league with ficuses in general. So if you're hearing indecision, there's my little friend there. If you're hearing indecision in my voice, that's because there's a lack of understanding of what these trees want to do. Okay, I'm pretty satisfied with what I've done there. So I've got this branch down here, which I started to think about. It kind of has some nice movement toward the back, if that's the back. I'm not going to cut this front part off. It's a little weak. Can I clean this up any better? Okay, it's a little more hollow so that when it tries to heal over, it will. I think there's nothing. Oh, there's one more. Back here, I'll come back to here. We'll see what happens. I'll spray this tree with soap and water. It's a beautiful day. I'll just take it outside, spray it, let it stay for 5 or 10 minutes, wash it down, and it'll be ready to come into the house. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Let's look at this. And yes, I should be choosing a front. I just can't. I'm going to leave this branch even though it's growing in here. Because if I decide to take one of these branches off, it might be this one. So if I leave that, I don't need that. And once again, these are long. There is a little taper. And there is a lot of vigor. I'm just going to tip prune this back. And this. I also need to investigate what scale insects look like when they're not in their turtle phase earlier on. I understand they have a mobile phase. I gotta do my research. I hadn't been plagued by scale before because I really don't have many trees that don't winter outdoors. Sandy in my club has a willow leaf ficus, and she agrees with me that they are very prone to scale. And I have a crossing situation back here. And I think I'm going to take this part of this branch off. It doesn't leave me with much, but it's still pretty dense here. I'll take the tip off of this. And the tip off of this. Well, let me knock back the vigor on this a little bit. I'm going to do it to this downward facing leaf. There's an old leaf at the bottom. I'm going to take this leaf off too. It's a little unsightly. Got some debris on it. I think this branch going straight up doesn't do me any good, but it gives me hope that I'll get some budding down low. There's something over here and there's something over here. This would be great in this direction, but this one needs to come off. So, same MO. I want to stimulate growth further down, so I'm taking the ends off these branches to kind of knock them back a little bit. Just taking leaves off where I see that they're malplaced. And obscure something else. So that's just temporary. You know, this tree's going to want to do what it wants to do. I'm thinking about that decision I made here. Take the tip off of that. Take the tip off of that. Here's a branch going straight up. Just knocking this one back a little bit and this one back a little bit. Trying to stimulate that growth lower down. Okay, that's got that pruned up. Leaving it for now, just the way it is. This tree is not going in a show. I'm just trying to teach it to do what I want it to do. And since I don't know what that is, it's every man for himself. And in each case where I'm taking the tip off, I'm trying to take it to a leaf that's going in the direction I want it to go. And like I said, I don't see any buds, but they got to be in there somewhere. I've only had one winter with this tree. There was never a point where I thought it was dead or anything. I was warned about its propensity to lose leaves. I think this branch is superfluous. It's great that they have this little white dot so I can see where I've been. Am I done? Not quite. Okay, I think it's kind of awful there. Do I need that branch? I don't. I might, but I don't. All right, that's got my willow leaf ficus all pruned up. Once again, thank you, Carlos, for this tree. And those of you who have experience hard pruning, this is actually a little fatter right here than it is here, as I'm looking at it from this direction. Yeah, I want a hard prune at some point, but I need to know what I'm doing. And please put some comments. I'd love to hear from people who have this tree and have been courageous with it. All right, thanks for keeping me company in my backyard.